Hello, in this Ezra 7:10 bite-sized study, I want to begin a series of looking at 50 Hebrew words that every Christian should know. And we're just going to be exploring some of the various meanings of some words which are relatively simple in Hebrew but have repercussions with respect to how we actually understand their translation in various texts. So 50 Hebrew words. We're going to begin with part one, and this simple word here that we see, av. It's pronounced like this, av, aleph, bet, and it actually means father. It actually means father. That's the basic meaning of the word. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but doesn't Abba mean father? Well, yes, it does. And Abba was a word that was used during the 1st and 2nd centuries. And it's actually an Aramaic word. It's an extra aleph on the end. But the Hebrew word for father is, in fact, av. Now, it can just have a very basic meaning of the word father. As in a person's father. And we see that in 1 Kings 5:1. Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants to Solomon when he heard that they had anointed him king in place of his father, for Hiram had always been a friend of David. So this is talking about Solomon, whose maternal father, was indeed David. That's the basic meaning of the word father. However, it can also refer to a grandfather, as we see in Genesis 28:13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. Now, your father Abraham, this is actually speaking to, God is speaking to, or the angel speaking to Jacob. So Jacob's father technically was Isaac and not Abraham. However, his father here, his grandfather here, is referred to with this same word, av. So here immediately we can see that there is quite a broader meaning than simply a maternal father. But it goes a bit further than that, because it can go to a more distant father, a progenitor, a distant forefather. We see that in Deuteronomy 26:5. You shall answer and say before the Lord your God, this is something which the Israelites were to say, my father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down to Egypt and sojourned there. My father, this is something that's going to be spoken by many generations, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations of Israelites in the land. But they were to say, my father was a wandering Aramean. And this father is going to be in reference to Abraham, at least. So it's going way, way back to the original progenitor of the people of Israel, a distant forefather. Father can also be used as a term of respect where there is no blood bond. And we see that here with the king of Israel and Elisha. Then the king of Israel, when he saw them, he said to Elisha, he saw his enemies, the Arameans, he said to Elisha, my father, shall I kill them? Elisha is not the father of the king of Israel, but this is a term of respect, a great deal of respect, as though the king of Israel is relating to Elisha, this honored man, as though he were his father. So it's just a term of respect. There was no relation with respect to blood. We see it used again here in 1 Samuel 24. We see that David is referring to Saul. These are two people from two entirely separate tribes. After David spares Saul's life when he goes into a cave, cuts off his robe and lets Saul come out, and then he confronts him in this passage. And David says, now, my father, see indeed, see the edge of your robe in my hand. For in that I cut off the edge of your robe and did not kill you, know and perceive that there is no evil or rebellion in my hands. And here David is calling Saul his father, although he isn't actually his father at all. It's just a term of respect and a term of a great honor from one person to another. And now, obviously, we have a text paving the way for the New Testament text. We have a text in Deuteronomy 32:26. Do you thus repay the Lord, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who has bought you? He has made you and established you. And the great thing about this passage is it is talking about God as Israel's father. So all of these aspects of honor, progenitor, they all sort of kind of roll into one when Israel or a people refer to God as their father. And it obviously has repercussions in the New Testament because Jesus prays, our Father who is in heaven, who art in heaven. And here we see it very much in the vein of the Old Testament usage that Jesus calls God his Father. That's the end of this first video. There'll be more to come. Please don't forget to subscribe and like if you want to continue watching more of these videos. And also, I would suggest you check out my website, Ezra710.com. You can sign on to a newsletter there that I will be releasing shortly.